Awesome. All right, so let's go for it. I think we're all here. Just give me a second here to launch this. So first of all, thank you so much for attending today's webinar. Really excited to be able to speak with you today. And thank you so much for having me as well, Flentas, and for putting this together. So, you know, the goal of this session is to tell you about AWS for Games and also about how Flentas can help you build amazing game analytic pipelines and much more. So I'll give you a general overview, and then we'll dive deeper a little bit in the agenda and into our new services as well. So first, I'm going to introduce myself. So thank you. So my name is Olivier. I lead AWS Game Tech business development activities for investors in EMEA, and I also spend some time to help our customers and partners in MENA. That's why I'm with you on this beautiful day. So we partner with great teams like Flentas to give the best offer possible to game developers. Okay, and so a little bit myself, I've been at AWS for 2.5 years. I'm really following my passion for gaming. So I help creators, developers, studios, and publishers make and distribute amazing games with AWS. So it's a cool gig. Before that, I was a founder or co-founder of 6 startups. So I crashed 4. So I can basically tell you everything you should be doing as well. 2 did pretty good. And then in the previous life, I had restaurants and I was the head concierge of a palace in Paris. Very important, my all-time favorite games are Half-Life, Counter-Strike, The Last of Us, and Zelda, Link to the Past, which I probably finished like 10 times. So basically, if you want to talk about games, investment, business development, or you just want to hear funny stories about what happened in hotels, you can hit me up. Email is right here, or on LinkedIn. That works really well as well. I would be more than happy to engage with you. Can have the next slide, please. Cool. So this is really the most important slide of the whole presentation. That's what I'm playing today. So I've been addicted to the Pathway. I don't know if you know this game. It's like an Indiana Jones kind of scenario. Really cool. I've been playing this for 6 months. I can't get enough of it. And I'm trying to revive my skills at Gran Turismo 7, but I think it's impossible. So I'm going to give up soon, but it's still a pretty cool game. Next slide, please. Okay, so today the agenda. As I was saying, today's topic is around gaming technology at AWS. And so I'm going to give you a little bit of an introduction to AWS and to AWS Game Tech so that you know who we are, what we do, and more importantly, how we can help you make better games. We'll also talk to you a little bit about the needs of a game developer and a game studio and where we think the cloud can be very useful for you. So before we dive into the agenda, for those of you who are new to AWS, I'm going to give you a very quick summary. No, you can go back to the other slide. Yeah, that's cool. Thanks. This is who we are. So a very quick summary of who we are and what we do, as I was saying. So Amazon Web Services, or AWS, is really a global provider of cloud services, right? So we support game customers of all sizes, providing solutions and technological service to help them build and operate and launch their game. We work with 90% of AAA studios throughout the world, but also thousands of smaller indie studios. So really, no matter what the size of the studio and the game you're building, we'll be able to help you. And really, you know, AWS has everything you need to build fast, operate smarter, and create new gaming experiences that will really redefine the future of the gaming industry. At least that's what we're aiming for. Next slide, please. Yeah, so sorry for the complicated slide with all the drawing, but basically this is really to show you the infrastructure that we have, you know, because it's, you know, we have the most secure, extensive, and reliable cloud platform out there. We have more than 230 fully featured services from data centers globally. And really what's important for you to understand is that you can scale no matter what you're building in a single click. And really it's easy to build and then to scale and to extend. And because it's an on-demand service, you pay as you go. So you only pay for the consumption that you're using. And really, the cloud today enables studios to move much quicker in response to player feedback. That's also very important. They have demands, and you can really have that elasticity that you need to build great games. So what you have to get from this slide is really that if you can think of the game and the infrastructure that you have, you can probably build it on AWS. Next slide, please. Right. So today, with the help of Ventas, gaming companies like yours can really benefit from a range of special benefits, right? So you have access to a partner network, and Ventas is definitely the best example for that. And they can help you with their deep domain expertise, and we'll see that later on. That will explain a little bit about how they're helping other customers, and hopefully that can be the case with you as well. We can also give you access to a dedicated solution architect, a dedicated account manager, someone that will help you really to navigate through AWS Game Tech, through AWS as a whole, and also as Amazon as a group. We have great onboarding programs as well to teach you and train you on AWS tools and services. Maybe sometimes you know just a few, or you didn't have time to update, or you're completely new to it. So we can help you no matter which situation you're in. And finally, also we can enable credits for you, right, to test and build the best infrastructure for your game. So depending on what you need, how much you need, and at which stage of development you are, we'll find the best solution for that. So for this, you can get in contact with me. Again, I'll be more than happy to help you. We're a global team, right? So present throughout the world. Thank you. So yeah, just a few of the partners that we work with. As you can see, Ventas is right here. And there's others that can help you in different domains of expertise as you may need it during your game development. Right, so this is what we hear from our customers, right? So developers like you, they're imagining future games that will delight players, right? This is what it's all about. At least I hope so. So they require the infrastructures and solution to support the vision, right? And that's where we come in, because they need servers that can scale to tens of millions of players anywhere in the world, databases that can process terabytes or petabytes of ever-changing data. They need analytics solution that can access that data with millisecond latency, and even machine learning that can translate into new and immersive gameplay. And today, players expect to have regular and compelling updates, right? They're asking for this more and more, and they're expecting it to go as faster than ever. So really, developers need faster time to market and more efficient workload when building the next new game, and moving workloads to the cloud really helps you. And AWS Game Tech is all about that, and we're here to help you do that, so that you deliver the best experience for your players. Sorry, a great example of this is Fortnite, because it's all hosted and it was developed on AWS, and it shows how you can scale to unprecedented level, right? Because it's a game that enjoys 250 million monthly average users. They have 12.3 million average same time player all around the world. And really, to balance that game, and they need to identify anomalies, cheaters, bugs to improve performance. It's really supported by massive data warehouses. And just to give you it's a little bit of mind-boggling, but to give you an idea, Fortnite today it's approximately 95 petabytes of data, which is almost as large as the entire Google search engine. So that's all supported on AWS, and it runs pretty well. So that's just an example of how far we can go into scalability. The next slide, please. Cool. So really what's important is as I was saying, whether you're a team of 1 or 1,000, there's only really one thing that matters, and it's making a game that your players would want to play. And how you get there is really the question. So for us, we divided into 3 parts, right? Build, run, grow. The build phase of the game is where the AWS services come in. So they're really purpose-built cloud products that will help you to create the best game possible. And then you get into the run phase, right? And those are the AWS solutions, because they can be ready to deploy solution that assembles AWS services, codes, configuration. This could include game lifts, game-specific servers for multiplayer games, dedicated game databases, real-time analytics, and much, much more. And then you get to the third stage where, obviously all of your games will be soon, so you'll be able to grow it with the help of Flentas. You can go around the game analytics, for example, and then, you can have guidance around prescriptive architectural diagram. You'll see a few a little bit later in the presentation, simple codes, technical supports, and all of that. So, AWS Game Tech really provides a robust, scalable solutions for every stage in your game lifecycle, regardless of the studio size that you're in. We're still on the previous slide, so now we're going on that one. Yeah, sorry. So now the Nimble. Next slide, please. So at GDC, we announced 3 new services on top of all the other ones that we had. So I'll talk to you a little bit about those 3 services, and also around our new game engine. The next slide, please. So the first one I'm going to talk to you about today is Amazon Nimble Studio. And really, this is, I think it's awesome. And what we wanted to do here is really to simplify the cloud adoption. Okay, so because sometimes all of these tools and capability can be a bit daunting for customers, right? 230 services. Am I choosing the right one? Am I, putting it in the right order, etc. So really, Nimble Studio is really here to simplify how you build and operate your cloud-based studio. And it really allows you to easily gain access to GPU-based virtual workstation, cloud rendering capacity, and a shared storage for creative and developers within your studio. So you can deploy dozens of services in a coherent cloud studio in less than 3 hours, where normally it would take you weeks to set up. Next slide, please. So Nimble Studio really acts as a central hub for your studio infrastructure. Okay, today you want to work, from home, from different location, and it really allows you to do that, and also to have a single point of configuration. So when you deploy Nimble Studio, you have the ability to manage your user. You can create accounts for them. Developers and creators will be able to log in through an artist-friendly portal. Then you can collaborate remotely because you're using the infrastructure is in the cloud, so you don't need to be in the same physical location. As I was saying, they can access project data on a scalable cloud file system. This means that basically you'll need more space for your project data. You can just add it with a click of a button, which is pretty cool. You can also archive old projects on our Glazer storage for it's very easy and low cost. And your artists can render on an elastic cloud-based render frame, which need more if you need more render resources, then also they're in a click of a mouse, and so for crunch time it becomes much less stressful. And of course, you have the SDK that gives you more power to customize your studio and leverage all of the service that AWS has to offer. The next slide, please. So that's for Nimble Studio. Now I'm going to talk to you about the new GameSpark. So maybe some of you have heard of the previous version that we had, and now we went back to scratch. So really, with the new GameSparks, we started from a clean sheet, and we imagine a world where game developers can really focus on building and engaging on an immersive gameplay experience. And they do not need to worry about managing the backend service to power their game, right? And this is what we built with Amazon GameSpark, because it's a new managed service that can help you during your build, run, and grow phase as your game backend. So with this new GameSparks, game developers can now fully manage their AWS services with that game backend. And it's very easy and quick to create and manage that backend with new features. And so that's now we're testing it, and that's the feedback that we're getting from our testers. So we're really happy about it. It's really a simple interface, right, to get started right from your game engine, and it's serverless, and it assumes little to no prior cloud experience. So again, very easy to access it and to start using it. And so the complexity of the cloud primitive and abstracts are standard out of the box game features that you can not only use directly, but you can also extend them and customize them to build the unique game features that your game needs and nothing else. And on top of this, GameSparks enables you to get the unmatched scaling capability that I was talking to you about previously, because it's built on the cloud, and very easily you can request more instances. So as your game is getting more popular, then it's easy for you to scale. The next slide, please. So it's still in preview, right? So if you're interested in testing it, please reach out to me. We'll make sure that we'll either do a demo or actually give you access to the preview, so you can give us our comments, give you your comments. And in the future, we're going to launch a bunch of new capabilities. So cloud code. So really, that's the glue that holds everything together. Manage player data. That's going to be really, really cool. You have, the messaging, the test harness, the authorization and identification. We also have a Unity integration that's coming. That's going to be very, very nice to all your game developers using Unity. Lambda for all the serverless activities that you'll be able to do, and also DynamoDB for databases. So that's going to come within the next 12 months, and every other month we launch a new service, a new feature. GameKit. So that's sorry, I'm using the same superlatives, right? But I think it's really, really awesome because it's our new solution, and it's an open source solution available today for the Unreal Engine, which allows game developers to deploy and customize cloud connected features for their game, which they can customize and manage in their own account directly. Next slide, please. So, game developers, while experts at gameplay development, they don't always have cloud expertise, or they don't want to spend months in researching cloud services, which one should I use, and really start writing undifferentiated code to build a backend game feature, right? So to solve this issue, we're bringing the ability of building cloud connected features directly into the game engine. So really now developers on Unreal can use AWS Game Kit to deploy and customize cloud connected features for the game directly within the game engine, as I was saying. We call these self-managed features as a code that enables the features to be deployed around cloud formation templates, and they run directly into your account afterwards, and it works really well. Next slide, please. So with GameKit, developers building on PC games on Unreal have access to 4 features at launch. And again, we already announced some new features that I'll talk to you about in a second. So as the month come by, we'll have more and more features. Now what you have is authentication, achievement, cloud save of GameStat, and user gameplay data. And now what we announced is that now GameKit is supported by iOS and macOS for game development. So you can do that with Unreal Engine. So that's pretty awesome. Thanks. Yeah, so the last service I kind of wanted to touch base on is our new engine, right? So it's Open3D engine is really new and open source, and it's a real-time 3D development engine. Okay, so it was built and it's managed with the Linux Foundation. So a bunch of different companies, AWS and Amazon being part of it, started from Lumberyard, which was our old engine, to kind of develop this new open source. And so New World, that you know from Amazon Studio, that gets around 900,000 plus players, is built on that. So the proof that it scales and the proof that it works. So more than happy to put you in contact with the people that are doing this if this is of interest to you. Yeah, and the last slide is around who's in that foundation with us and who's working on creating this great new game engine. Right, the next slide, please. So Amazon is a big group, right? So around gaming, there's a bunch of different things that we can help you with. So if it's Twitch to tackle streaming and broadcast and player acquisition, we can help you having conversation around that. You have Luna for cloud gaming services. You have Amazon Retail if you want to sell your physical game, and you have Alexa as well if you want to work around voice technology and much more. Right, so please get in touch. You have my email here again. More than happy to help you around the credit piece, and would love to hear from you and understand what type of game you're building and how we can help, and do that with the help of Flintas, of course. Thank you. That's it on my side. I'll pass on the ball to Suhail and get all your questions at the end of the presentation. So hopefully that was interesting for you. Thanks.
Thanks, Oliver. It was a great, coverage. Got to know a lot of new services as well. Okay. Hi everyone. Shoel this side. I'll just give a brief introduction about myself, and we'll start and get into it directly. So I look after overall delivery and pre-sales for Flintas. We are a 5-year young cloud-focused company. As you can see on the slide deck, we are a DevOps competency partner, IoT competency partners, and we specialize very much. We have a very keen focus around gaming and game tech, helping multiple gaming studios across the APAC and few in the west side of the world. And really keen to work with everyone who is interested in building AWS based game tech solutions on cloud. Yeah, you can go to the next slide. Yes, so I'll try to cover 3 different agenda items here. We'll try to focus around game analytics solutions that we have built in-house, which is very much targeted towards the KPIs that usually, any kind of game producers or marketing teams of game studios might be interested in. We'll try to go through that and how that solution looks like. We'll also try to go into the GameOps offering that we have built in-house, which is a packaged solution for all operations or game backend services that are required for any kind of casual games that you can think of, right? So we've tried to curate a lot of different backend services and place into a single hosted solution on AWS, right? And finally, we'll also talk about the case study that we have, helped one of our, very large customer to migrate into AWS and how they are leveraging the power of AWS cloud. Next slide, please. Yeah, so we'll start with analytics. We'll try to address why analytics, right? I'm not sure, how many of the people who are attending here are really using analytics, apart from the de facto ones, if at all you might be using Google Analytics or Firebase to an extent. So we need to answer why analytics. We also need to understand what all things to measure, and we'll also see how to build, one if you are keen to work on few advanced metrics that are possible by curating content from multiple sources that are available in the on the SaaS world. Okay, I think the answer is pretty simple. We need to retain and engage users. The only way we can do this is to understand user behavior. The only way we can do this is by instrumenting the way users are behaving on our system. What all features are the users liking, where all they are seeing a lot of they are basically dropping off from the system. So those are the very important metrics that we need to understand in order to retain the users, right? And that is only possible if you are having a very robust analytic solutions in place. Second is improving the user experience. Goes without saying, because some of the features, the user journeys that you might have built into the game of yours might not be very much pleasing to the users. It might be hard. Some of the levels of difficulty might be hard for typical users to overcome, and hence there might be a lot of drop-offs because of that as well, right? And thirdly, there is also a lot of KPIs, right? Apart from the user behavior, there might also be business KPIs like in-app purchases or ad revenue, or number of installs, load times, bunch of different things, right? Which might decide the performance of your game, right? Both from revenue perspective and also from user experience perspective. And ultimately, analytics will help you maximize your revenue, because if you take care of the game design and really understand the user feedback as soon as possible and try to improvise things before there is a drop off from the users, it'll work in everyone's favor and ultimately help you retain the users and maximize the revenue that you're generating from your game. Yeah. So we've tried to list down few of the common metrics that most of the audience might be aware about. First and foremost is the number of installs. It will show you what is the kind of installations you're seeing, of your game, successful installations. DAU, MAUs, I think everybody might be aware about it. I'll not go through each of these because these are most of the common metrics you will see available on a lot of platforms. Just plug and play, like session length, load time, drop-off rates, retention, churn rate, right? But the important metrics are some of the advanced metrics that are listed in this slide, where it might not be very typical for a SaaS vendor to instrument these things or these metrics directly into a dashboard. Hence, there is a requirement of collating data, pulling data from multiple sources. We can go to the next previous slide. Yeah. So there is always a need of integrating with third-party vendors to source this data, right? Like revenue data. So your in-app purchases is totally controlled by the Play Store or the App Store that you're using, right? Because revenue goes to Google or Apple, right? So there is an API integration which is required. There is IP conversion rate. So what all users are really using or paying. So basically the number of users who have really paid for your game, right? In-app purchases. Ad revenue, this is again, depending on the distributor, the ad network you're using. you have to pull this data and correlate this data with the game data that you have to understand and come up with meaningful insights of how your ad revenue is doing. Total revenue is all about ad revenue and IAP revenue, or if you have any other sources of revenue that is being generated from the game. All this needs to be collated in some platform, right? You need to process this data on your own. There is also referral installs. You might have run some campaign, and you want to understand which campaign was successful, what platform which was used for the campaign is giving you more acquisitions, right? User acquisitions. This can also be inferred if you have sourced all this data while considering an analytic solution, right? There also click-through rates and ad impressions. I think this is very much self-explanatory. The whole point we are trying to make here is these are the metrics. Maybe most of these metrics you have to build something custom because they might not be available de facto in all the SaaS providers who provide the analytics as a solution, right? So we'll try to address, if at all we want to build the advanced and the common matrix both, right, on AWS. How do we, really go about it? So we've tried to depict a high-level architecture. On the left-hand side, you might be able to see the data sources. So there are primarily two data sources. One is the mobile, client itself, where your game is installed, and the other sources are the sources which you might be using for your marketing campaigns, your ad mob you might be using for for monitoring your ad revenue. There's also Facebook data that you can integrate this with for the user profile information. So this is how we basically source this data. On the left hand side, if you see, there's a lot of user behavior data, right, that will go directly from the mobile app into the data lake that we have created on AWS. And there is also the third-party data which needs to be polled at frequent intervals or integrated with, right? And that will also again be staged into certain kind of a data lake that we have built. Ultimately, what happens is both this data, the user behavior data coming in from the mobile app, and the data coming in from the third-party integrators, right? They all come and sit in your data lake where your actual processing, is executed. Where the actual KPIs are, calculated and plotted on a BI, dashboard like QuickSight, right? So this is a high-level overview of a solution that we have already built, for our customers, and this is something which is readily plug and play to an extent where building this, integrating this with your existing game might reduce your development time from months to a mere couple of weeks, right? So that is the the kind of robustness that we can bring in if we were to deploy something which is very much focused from game tech perspective, right? So we can go to the next one. So we have tried to highlight the kind of AWS services we are using here. It's totally serverless solution. We've used we do have a Unity SDK which can directly be integrated into your game. You can instrument your data and push it directly onto cloud, and the rest will be automatically done because the ETL jobs are already written for the important KPIs that we just highlighted in the previous slides, right? I think all these services here are serverless. It's making use of S3, QuickSight, Glue, Kinesis Firehose, Athena Query Engine, which are all pay as you go and serverless services. Yeah, we can go to the next slide. Yeah, so moving on from analytics to the other offering, which is GameOps offering. So like I said, right, we want to cover backend services, right, which are required by most of the gaming studios. If you are running a casual game and you have certain kind of a backend which is just storing player data, for example, right, you'll at least need something to handle player operations, right? And that is right there, they're available as a module in this GameOps offering, right? So what we've tried to do is try to come up with all the generic modules which are really required by any kind of a gaming studio when they are building a backend as a service platform for their own games, right? So to basically remove the undifferentiated heavy lifting where you have to build something from scratch, right? Because more or less the custom leaderboards, the inventory, the push notifications, chat engine, everything, right, is something which doesn't change from game to game, right? The semantics remain the same. Hence, the adaptability and the time it takes to really develop something is really reduced if you are able to plug and play something which is already built, right? So that's what we are trying to do here. We have tried to accommodate a lot of modules which can be readily integrated with your existing game. And you can, so basically if you want to build a backend as a service from scratch, you should really not look at building yourself, because it's going to consume a lot of time. This is going to solve a lot of problems where you need an immediate Kickstarter, right? To for a faster go to market, basically, right? So this is a set of features. We've also shown a high level architecture of how this solution is built on AWS native services. I'll not go much into the details of technicalities here, but we'll try to just show what all architectural considerations have been made and what all features have been made available with the virtue of the AWS services that we are seeing on this architecture, right? So on the left, you might be seeing the mobile devices, the games, where they run. They are all connected to CloudFront. So CloudFront, if you're not aware, is a content delivery network which has which is globally distributed edge locations, which reduces the latency time for the end user to connect to the cloud to a great extent, which gives you a lot of performance when it comes to uploading or downloading the content, right? So that's the first service which will definitely help any kind of game for faster user experience, right? Then we have tried to distribute the backend into two different bigger modules. One of them is the pure GameOps APIs, where a lot of leaderboards, your player operations, your chats, and matchmaking is taken care of, because that is purely HTTP. The other module, the bigger module, is the multiplayer engine. Yeah, Lavina, you can go to the previous slide, please. Yeah. So the other, bigger module is the multiplayer engine, which is depicted underneath that, underneath on the diagram, which takes care of the multiplayer aspect of your game, right? You might be having a socket-based connection, a TCP-based connection, a UDP-based connection, right? So this particular solution is totally WebSocket-based, and it takes care of handling, millions of connections with the help of Redis channels in the backend. It also, the solution also has a lot of caching capability, so you can cache a lot of content on Redis, as a key value store, and it also makes use of NoSQL database using MongoDB, right? We've also seen a lot of games where a lot of write throughput is required, especially when you have maybe crossed a million million downloads, or 10 million downloads or 20 million downloads, right? At that scale, you will see a lot of reads which will be taken care of by the caching layer. But when it comes to writes, right, you still have one single database to rely on, right? And that is where you need to handle scale very efficiently. And that is the reason we have put a message buffer engine in between. You might be able to see Kafka, which takes care of eventually persisting that data into the persistent store, so that there is minimal throughput requirements, at least when it comes to making that state available to the end user immediately, right? We've also tried to put in on the top the DevOps pipelines, right? So all the releases, whatever new features are released, they all should follow a certain DevOps automated release practice, which is also just put as a indicator there. So this is on a high level what it looks like to build a successful BaaS or a complete feature-rich BaaS platform. Just depicting here to make it easy for everyone to understand. We can go to the next slide, please. Yeah, and finally, we'll talk about one of the case study, which where we are trying to highlight how we helped one of our customers to migrate from a PaaS backend to a totally self-hosted and self-developed architecture on AWS. when the customer was at around 10 million downloads, we helped them re-architect the entire backend on AWS and basically handle infinite scale horizontally by reducing the drop-off rates up to 99.99%. The problem that the customer was facing was primarily the cost that was associated with a lot of users, because a lot of BaaS providers have CCU based pricing, where the number of users basically concurrent number of users basically decide the amount you pay to the BaaS provider, right? And that's the reason there was a primary reason for them to move into a self-hosted architecture. The customer has currently around, Ludo has around 700 million plus downloads at this point, and they are one of the top 10 most downloaded game, globally, even till this date, right? I think we are able to handle around 51 million DAUs and an MAU count of around 185 million, right? And I think during the COVID spike, we were able to handle around 2 million CCUs, which is concurrent users at the same time with the help of the scale that was provided by AWS and the way it was architected, right? So it is one of the few use cases where we were able to showcase the power of cloud as well as the power of building your own backend and how it can seamlessly scale and be customized according to your needs, right? Yeah, I think that would be it for now. We can go to the next slide. Yeah. With this, we would like to wrap it up. But yeah, we have I think 5-10 minutes for the Q&A. Please feel free to push your questions or queries. We'll definitely try our best to answer all those questions. Thank you.
Please tell us what you think. If you have any questions, comments, feedback, I'm more than happy to answer that. You can put it in the chat as well if you don't feel like talking. Maybe a question to all of you then. Who's using AWS today extensively? What kind of services are you using? Tell us a little bit more about what you do, please.
Hi. So I have a question. It's more for Olivier if he's still around. I was curious. He was talking about the GameSparks service, and I was curious how much it resembles the old GameSparks.
Very good question, Marius. Thank you. It has nothing to do with the old GameSparks. It was really started back from scratch. We had a lot of customer feedback over the years that we used it as a service, and really the team worked backwards from those customer feedback and created a completely new games backend. So I can't say that it resembles the old one. What I can say is that it's much better, and I'm backing this by the customers that are using it and trying it. Obviously it's still in preview. There are services and features that we need to make sure that are there before we actually launch it. But it's looking really good on our side. And if you are interested in that service, please send me an email. We can put you in contact with the product team that's developing it. We can have a demo. We can even, if you want to use it in some way, shape, or form, we can arrange that as well.
Cool. Yeah, I will do that. Thank you.
Awesome, Marius. Thank you. I'll wait for your email then. Anyone else? Okay.
All right. Great. Lavina, should we wrap it up?
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for joining.
Thank you, everyone.
Yes, thank you very much. It was great speaking with all of you today, and I hope you